Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Vivek Bharata. In this video, we'll be diving into the top 5 mistakes to avoid when using Node.js. If you have been working with Node.js or just starting out, these are the common pitfalls that can trip you up. Stick around because avoiding these mistakes could save hours of debugging and frustration. Let's start with the first mistake where most of the devs have already guessed it, that is blocking the event loop. Node.js relies on its event loop for handling asynchronous operations. And if you write code that blocks it, like heavy computations, synchronous file operations, or any DB calls which are purely synchronous, by which you can make your application unresponsive. In this example, you can clearly see that we are using fs.read file sync, so it is purely a synchronous operation. Imagine this large file.csv has some huge data and which is around 1 GB of size. So this synchronous operation will basically block the whole event loop, read the whole 1 GB of data in memory, and that is stored in data, and that is being sent as a response, which is ugly to the core. You can also try the same snippet. Just spin up a very basic HTTP server and create a file which is like 1 GB or maybe 500 MB also, and hit multiple requests. You will see the difference way too quickly, and the whole application will be unresponsive after a request. Now, how to unblock the event loop? Best thing is make this into an asynchronous operation. You could use promises or async await syntax, but the whole concept is we should always use asynchronous operations for heavy computations or reading large files and other and any DB operation. Basically, any IOPS, you should always make sure that that operation is being done via an asynchronous way, not synchronous way. So the ideal code snippet can be, we can use fs promises, and from there we'll use this read file, which is again a promise based. This is also kind of not a good idea if we are talking in terms of 1 GB. Usually we can stream the whole file line by line or chunk by chunk, but for the sake of this simple example, we are trying to read the file asynchronously and send the response. Again, this is not an ideal example in case of very large files, but assume instead of this fs.read file, if we have a database operation, again it's a purely IO operation, and we should always use await. The reason I have given this read file instead of the DB operation, because there is an extended mistake that can be avoided. That is, imagine this is a 500 MB. At this line of execution, the whole 500 MB of data has been stored in this data variable, which is not again a good practice. So we can actually open a stream and pipe the stream as a response. Try it out and let me know in the comments. Alright, I hope this is clear. This is the most often mistake who are starting out in Node.js. Alright, let's move on to the next mistake, that is not handling errors properly. This is also a common, and this is not actually in specific to Node.js. This is more of a language agnostic, but due to the promises, syntax, and async await, most of the times I see developers miss the error handling. In this example, you can see there is some asynchronous operation, imagine, and once it's done, usually the resolved data will be ending up over this then. And what about the error? Usually we can have a catch over here, but this is a go-to way of usually the early starters would do. But this is really bad because there can be few of the frameworks can have a global exception handlers or error handlers, but we should not blindly rely on those. As a good developer, you should make sure that every business logic is error handled properly. Now let's see how to handle errors properly. Let's use the same sum async operation function, and if you look at the business logic, we have this fetch data function, and it's in an async await syntax. Whenever you're using async await, it's always best practice to wrap with the try catch. So if you see here, if there is any error that happens in this specific function definition, it will be caught over in this try catch block, and from there you can normally handle or notify the user, anything. And you can see there is another mistake over here where you are using console.error that will be covered later in the video. Let's move on to the third mistake, that is ignoring memory leaks. Memory leaks in Node.js often arise from holding references to objects unnecessarily. Most of the developers encounter that, okay, there is a memory leak happened only on production. I have seen many cases where developers realize that, okay, there is a memory leak only once they are deployed to live, and over the period, the resources for that process keeps increasing, like the RAM will keep increasing over the period. So that's kind of great signal that there is a memory leak in the Node.js process. And one of the best examples is not cleaning up the event handlers, be it any event handler. As an example, let's say here in this example, we have an event emitter. We are adding an event with an event name as event, and we have some business logic over here, and we are just calling this add listener. So for this event emitter, we are adding an event with an event name as event itself, right? So assume once the whole process is done, let's say this is a part of the request response or maybe some entry point via cron job or whatever it is. The developer's responsibility is whenever you are adding an event, you should make sure that the events are also removed from the event emitter as a cleanup. So in this case, as there is no cleanup, for every request, these event handlers keep bubbling up, and which is not a good practice at all. So how to fix it? It is very easy. Most of the event systems will have the similar functions. That is like that specific emitter, remove all listeners. You can pass the event name exact so that let's say we have event 1, event 2, as you have multiple events handlers for different event names. You can pass the same function with all the different event names. So in this example, I have added cleanup right after the add listeners, but usually this will be done once the cron job is completed, something like this. So this mistake, memory leaks, will break the systems for sure, and it's kind of tricky to identify. You can get some memory dumps, and from there you can extract okay where exactly the memory keeps piling up. All right, let's move on to the fourth mistake, that is overusing global variables. While it might be tempting to declare variables globally for quick access, this can lead to conflicts, hard to debug issues, and unexpected behavior in large applications. So in this example, you can see we are using the config object as a global variable and the API key is 12345. Doesn't make sense, but usually people do to close the loop at the very early start of a POC concept or something like that. But again, I wouldn't recommend to go in this approach. So one of the best example is here. If you can see here config, let's say we have this config module. All right, so here we have API key, and first we are trying to get the API key from the environment variable. If it is not there, we are falling back to the dev environment or staging environment value. Let's say in this case that is like 12345. So we'll be exporting this config object as a scope variable, and wherever we need it, we just simply import this config module. Simple, cleaner. Let's move on to the fifth one, that is not using a proper logging system. Debugging in production can be a nightmare without a proper structured logs. Console logs are really fine for development purpose, and that too at a very early stage of the application. But you need more robust logging for real world applications. So in this case, if you see, we are using the basic logging console.error, error in processing as an example, and console.log successfully processed. But there is a very good tool that is called Winston. It's pretty old, but I'll just give a walkthrough of it. So this is like a basic definition of a logger instance. Mostly you will define at the entry level of your application. So in this example, we have these two log messages, logger.error, error in processing, and logger.info, successfully processed. Here in this create logger options, we have this transports field. If you see, this is an array and we have 3 elements in it. One, we are telling that transpose.file name, this is error.log, and level is error. That means like write all logs with importance level of error or higher to error.log, error, fatal, etc., but not other levels like info, debug, warning. And we have another transport, that is transpose.file combine.log. As you can see, we haven't passed the level field. By default it will accept info, so any log level from info, it just adds into the combine.log, so which has fatal, error, warning, info. And we have third one, which is like console. Apart from the error logs into error.log and a combine.log, which is like a full log, we can also mention this transport, that is like console, so that it will print into your actual process console as well. So for these things, let's say the output would be on the console, you will see 2 log lines, which is like level error, message error is processing, services user service. You can mention that. So for each service, you can define a different instance, and you can have wrapper functions so that you will get a different logger instance, and you can just simply start using it. As you can see in the error log file, it will print only error message because we define level as error. So error fatal will be logged into error.log file. Combine.log, again, as we haven't mentioned any level, so it starts from the info and goes to all the higher log levels. So error and info both are logged into combine.log. That's it. So with these type of well-structured log patterns, you can also integrate with services like Elasticsearch or CloudWatch for monitoring. And there you have it. Top 5 mistakes to avoid when using Node.js. Avoiding these pitfalls will make your application faster, more reliable, and easier to maintain. A quick recap on the mistakes. First one, don't block the event loop. Second, handle errors properly. Third, watch out for memory leaks. Fourth, avoid overusing global variables. Fifth, using a proper logging system. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Got a Node.js mistake you have encountered or a tip to share? Drop it in the comments below, I would love to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.